Right,
Yeah.
we are live. So, good evening, Steelers. If you're out there, if you are, do say hello. It should come up on our chat here. Let's just see if we're working. I think we should be. Let me just have a quick look and make sure. Yeah, we are certainly live. So do say hello if anybody's out there. I can't see how many people are actually on the live stream at the moment. But tonight's a special one because I'm joined by Travis Hyatt. Is that how you pronounce it, Travis? Hyatt?
Hyatt. Yeah, I like the hotel.
I like the hotel.
Differently. Yeah.
And Travis is the winner of the Caesar Fan Favorites Awards 2 weeks ago now, wasn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, thereabouts.
Yeah, sounds about right.
And
was it just last weekend? I don't remember.
I can't remember either. I stayed up really late for it.
Yeah.
There's one.
Yeah, that's true, huh? You would have been. Yeah, it was Midwest time. I think was the.
Yeah, it was 8 p.m. It was 1 a.m. for us here in the UK. Crossing Obstacles game is saying echo. Are you getting an echo on this? I hope not. I hope it's working okay. So
maybe it's
I'm not sure what we can do about that.
It might be. Hold on a second here. Let me try something.
This is the first time I've tried this, so do bear with.
Is that any better? I didn't have any echo problems when I went on the Plastic Crack podcast.
No.
I know of. No one said anything.
No, it certainly didn't, from what I saw anyway.
Yeah, I have. Well, I'm not wearing the headphones, obviously, so the sound is coming from my speakers. It might be picking up on my microphone. Be the problem.
Have you got any headphones you can put on or not? Are we still getting echo out there, folks?
Not handy. I could run upstairs and get some possibly, but
yeah. Just trying to work out what's the best thing to do. Maybe if you could grab some, would that wouldn't be too much of an issue.
Yeah, I might be able to. I don't even know. I think they're upstairs somewhere. Not when I put them in here. I've never hooked them up to this laptop before. Oh, he said it was local. Okay, good.
It was local. Okay, so is it gone then?
Maybe he had two things open.
Okay, panicking us there, Bjorn.
All right, well, all right, crisis averted.
Right, we'll get back to it, shall we? Right, yeah. So Travis won the fan favourites, which I was also in the running for, and I was incredibly glad to see that you won it, even though I didn't. Obviously, I mean we spoke about it beforehand, and the fact that. Evening, Paul. The fact that the two of us were the smallest channels on that list.
Yeah.
Just looking at the others, I think was it Stuka Joe. I think was the third highest. He's got about 7,000 or 8,000 subscribers, I think, and then above him, you're talking like hundreds of thousands on the other two guys.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
So I don't know about how you felt, but I felt we are definitely the underdogs in this.
Oh yeah, I felt that too. I mean, but I don't think that the bigger channels really pushed. Like we kind of announced it and asked for people to vote for us. I don't think those other guys did that. So most of their viewers or subscribers probably didn't even know that they had, or probably never even heard of Little Wars TV.
I was going to say exactly the same thing. Yeah, I thought I watched. It's Uncle Atom, isn't it, who does the Tabletop Minions? He did a live stream, I think, the week before, and he never even mentioned it. Then I was watching it, and I thought, yeah, like you said, I thought they probably didn't even notice that it happened.
Probably not.
Oh well.
I mean, Little Wars is a historical gaming or a historical YouTube channel, and if they're not really into that, then why would they even know about it?
Exactly. I mean, he does. I think he plays a few games of things like Bolt Action and Flames of War and stuff. But yeah, most of the other guy's stuff is mostly fantasy things, wasn't it? Really.
I think so.
Well, look, I mean, I've got you on here really because I wanted to chat to you about various things, and I've got a bunch of questions that I do want to ask you. And if you don't mind, if there's anybody in the chat out there who wants to ask Travis any questions, please chuck them in the chat, and I'll throw them to him as well as we go along. But I've got quite a few questions, and I want to talk to you really, not so much about the wargaming side of things, but more about the YouTube side of things. Because I know I watched your Plastic Crack podcast live stream last week and really enjoyed it, so it was great. But that was mostly about the wargaming side of things, wasn't it? From what I remember.
Yeah, that was the bulk of that one for sure.
Yeah. But first of all, whenever you're doing these kind of things, you've always got to ask, haven't you? How did you get started in wargaming? I kind of know the answer to this, but please.
It's the same story that most people have, or not most, but most people that I've heard their story is the Games Workshop. You start with that, and then you that's kind of all you know, because you just see it at the store that you're at, and sounds cool, looks cool. Try it out, you get into it, and then even though I was a history nerd all my life, I just never even considered that there might be mini games for historicals.
Yeah.
And then after I got burned out on 40K, I happened upon Flames of War, played that for a while, and then I found Bolt Action, and then ever since then, that was kind of the floodgates opened, and I realized, hey, there's a whole world of historical mini gaming out here that I haven't even known about until I was probably, I don't know, my mid-30s or something.
Right.
So yeah, it started, that's the natural progression, I think, for a lot of historical gamers, is you start with Games Workshop and you find Bolt Action or Flames of War, and then you realize there are all these other games out there that you just haven't even realized existed.
Yeah. It certainly seems to be. I think it's like a gateway drug, isn't it, basically? Because Games Workshop is just so ubiquitous. They are here in the UK. I mean, there's one 10 minutes walk away from my house here, and I live in a smallish town. So if there's one there, there's going to be one in everybody else's smallish towns.
Right.
And I'm assuming
we even have one in Sacramento.
Yeah.
They're
so exactly. It's easy to get into, isn't it? But then obviously when you can only actually see what Games Workshop are selling when they're in there, they don't sell anything else, do they? So you kind of guard a wall once you're in there anyway. So it's difficult if you don't know.
Right.
I was kind of different. I was more into historical wargaming before I got into Games Workshop.
Yeah, that's backwards.
Yeah. And then I kind of got out of Games Workshop as well. But I mainly got into Games Workshop because my friends were into it. So it was a case of doing it backwards, really. I was more into the Napoleonic stuff prior to that, the Second World War, and then moved into Games Workshop and came out to it, yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's a usual way for a lot of people. Sorry, just got a couple of comments. Just saying hello to Ian. Hi, Ian and Johnson. Hi. Good evening to both of you. But yeah, I mean, as long as it works, I think Games Workshop has a place, doesn't it? It has a place in the overall.
Yeah, definitely. They're the gateway in, like you said. Most people. Plus, I mean, a lot of what you play comes down to what other people play where you live. You might sometimes not have much of a choice if you want to play any games. If everyone's playing Games Workshop, then that's what you're going to be playing if you want to play.
Yeah. But you play a lot of Lardy games as well, don't you? Lardy rules. So where did that come from? Because I mean, Bolt Action to Lardy is quite a large step, I would say. Because even Bolt Action is a bit of a gateway drug into historical games.
That's what it was. I mean, I love Bolt Action. I still play it a lot, and but I was just looking for something a little bit more crunchy than Bolt Action. I wanted a little bit more realism, and I found someone mentioned Chain of Command, so I tried it, and I fell in love with that immediately. First time I played it.
It's a great game, isn't it? I mean, I discovered it maybe 2 years ago, in fact, and I'm all over it. I always thought I was a big gamer. I never was particularly interested in skirmish gaming, but it's just completely transformed that for me, and I love it. It's easily, I think, my favorite game at the moment. Probably O Group is maybe competing for it a little bit.
That's one I haven't gotten to that yet, but I do want to try it since I have all the 15 mil stuff already from my Flames of War days. It's like, oh, that'd be perfect. I have everything ready to go.
Yeah, you literally just drop it on the table and go, can't you? There's nothing wrong with that. that's always a good sales pitch, isn't it? Really, for any rule system, I think.
Yeah, that's. I think that's one of the main reasons I like the historical gaming is once you have the armies, you're done, and you can just grab whatever rule book you want and try it out. It's not like, in something like 40K, they're always adding stuff. You don't add stuff to historical games. I mean, you can just by trying to dig deep into some obscure battle or some obscure unit that there was one of, or I mean, it is possible to do, but it's less frequent.
I was going to say, I mean, you will always find something new to buy, even in historicals. You've never completed your list, so to speak, have you?
Oh, no.
You're always adding bits and pieces. It's it's a never-ending thing, isn't it? Really,
it is. There's never, because if you do one, say you've got all your Normandy forces, then suddenly you need to do winter Bastogne forces, which are essentially the same, just different.
Yeah, different bases, isn't it? It's got different army completely. Then you've also got to do your eastern fronts. You've got to do your far eastern front. You've got to do the island hopping. There's the North Africa. It's never ending.
Yeah. No, but it's fine. Yeah, I like it. You would think that you would run out of stuff with historical gaming, but there's just so much to it that you'll never run out.
And I think even that, even within each historical period as well, you've got that you can explore so much. Like we just mentioned there, like the Second World War is so big and vast. You could just concentrate even just on Normandy and never be finished as a game.
Yeah. Oh, right.
You could concentrate on the Italian campaign and never be finished. Yeah. A couple of things here, a couple of questions. Alan Downs says, "Hi, gents. I want to know why Travis went into the close combat in the last video with laughing emojis there. I'm assuming I was watching the first part of your video earlier on today, the last one you put up, but I missed that bit."
Alan's probably just upset because he was hit during the game.
He was one of the junior leaders, wasn't he? The senior leader in the.
He was a section leader.
That's right.
I think he got hit, but the main reason at the time, I think in my head I was like, okay, it's getting pretty late. I mean, just time wise, that during that night, and I just needed to make something happen. So I went out there, and then he ended the turn. All the smoke went away, so I was standing out in the open. So if I didn't charge, I was just going to stand there and get blasted anyway. So I thought, well, maybe I can get lucky and just obliterate his section and maybe drop his force morale and turn the tides a little bit, but it didn't work out like that. Sadly,
it rarely does. But you've got to try these things, haven't you? That's the Hollywood moment, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
you've got to do that.
Yeah, it was pretty brutal.
Ian's asking about Napoleonic Bremen. Sorry, let me just see if I can bring that up. No, Alan's saying he got hit and nearly lost his eye.
Yeah.
He lost the Napoleonic Bremen battalion. He's just finishing. There's an obscure unit, I suppose. That's
never even heard of that.
That's the part of the Hanoverians, I think, or at least I think I painted one of their battalions for my 6-month Waterloo stuff. So that was 16 6mm figures of Bremens. And you've got some people saying, Tom says, filled with gaming, just World War II and some Vietnam. Crafting all the terrain alone is worth a good ton of content, but that is true. And we've got a couple more ones here. Start with FX, Fantasy 40K, and now it dimensions you like. Yeah, so similar story to a lot of us, I think. So that's kind of your background into wargaming, I suppose, isn't it? And like you say, it's pretty similar to most people. It's a story.
Yeah,
tell, really, isn't it?
Pretty common story.
Yeah. My question here then is, how did you get started in YouTube? And also, like a follow-up question, really, is did you have a blog or anything else similar to it before you started?
No, I didn't have anything. I just we were playing. We had just started Bolt Action, and I just saw some Bolt Action battle reports. This was like 5 years ago, and the gaming bat rep community was a lot smaller then. And I found a couple of the bolt action ones. I thought, well, I could probably do this, I think. So I just gave it a try and threw it on YouTube and just never stopped. Just kept on going.
Yeah. And you've not done anything like any blogging or anything like that before? So
no.
The reason I asked that is because I've had a Storm of Steel blog for I think it's 12 years now.
Oh, wow.
And, when I started that was kind of like blogging was the thing to do in Wargaming, if you were putting stuff out. And so that was just a way of it was also really a way of just recording what I was painting as well. It was like a place I could store photos of figures that I painted if I ever got rid of them or I forgot they were in a box somewhere, and also it was a place to do AARs and things like that. So it's interesting that you just wouldn't jump straight into YouTube.
I thought I liked the format of the bat reps, and I just thought it was very interesting and a good way to motivate yourself to keep painting and finish projects, and just like the whole everything about it.
Okay. And how did you find it to start to edit things as well? From the beginning, to edit videos.
Oh, edit?
Yeah, from the first point. I mean, I found when I started my YouTube 2 years ago. Just before you answer, I found it incredibly difficult to get my head around editing, and it's a learning curve, isn't it?
It is. Until I bought my new editor, I was just using the free one that came with Windows. I don't even know if they make it anymore, but it was like Windows Movie Maker, I think it's called.
Yeah.
Very limited capabilities, but pretty much all you could do was add transitions between clips. That was about the extent of the capabilities of that editor, and I used that for 5 years. Wow. And I didn't really do any editing. I just I would just the only editing I did was add an intro, and that was it. The rest of it I would just record. And the way that I would record, I had my handheld camera, and I would just start and stop every time. We'd start the video, talk about what happened, or show the dice rolling, whatever the case was at that moment, stop it again, and then I would just download every single one of those clips, probably maybe 100 of them in a normal video, and just drop them in there and add a transition, and that was it. That's all I did.
Right. Okay, that sounds pretty similar to what I do. However, I do, I chop the beginning and the end off of the clips, and also cut out any bits where I'm pausing or I'm not talking or something, because I try to have a narrative over the top of the videos as well as I'm going. Because a bit more difficult for me because I'm solo, so it's not like I can talk to somebody else and they're telling me what's happening. I've got to say everything that's happening in my videos. Right. That's quite a difference, I guess. But I have used the Windows Movie Maker. I used it a long time ago, and I used to work in Ireland, where they had it years ago on the old office computers, and me and the mates used to make stupid little videos of animations and things, just about each other, that kind of stuff. So that's Movie Maker is my first foray into editing as well, but I don't think any of those ever made it up to YouTube.
It served its purpose. I mean, it did fine for me for years, but I've upgraded quite a bit of everything. My camera, my computer, my laptop. We've added cameras. We've got new editors. So we've pretty much upgraded everything since then.
Okay, when you say we, do you work as a team, you and the guys? Well, play the games, isn't there? Or is it largely on your shoulders?
Yeah, it's all on my shoulders. Yeah, they aren't watching. Yeah. I do everything. They just come into play pretty much, which is fine. I don't expect them to do anything. I mean, they're helping me out by, coming and hanging out with me for 4 hours on a Friday night.
Yeah.
So it's and it's nothing on their shoulders anymore. But I mean, Andre has contributed a lot of terrain. He likes to do terrain building, so that's kind of his thing. He doesn't paint, he doesn't do anything like that, but he does do a lot of terrain because he's a shop teacher, so he has access to all the shop tools and everything that he needs to make hills.
What more do you need?
Yeah, so he, like recently he just made a beach for us we have a beach mat, and he's made the kind of a sloping piece that'll stretch 6 feet across the table so we can fight up the beach. So that's pretty cool. Oh, takes up a lot of space though.
Yeah, I can imagine. Difficult to store, isn't it? That's the problem with it.
Oh, yeah, he came walking in with the other day. I'm like, what the hell is this? He's like, this is the beach. I'm like, where am I going to put this? It's like 6 feet long.
Yeah, but looking behind you, you've got quite a big space there. I assume that's your filming room, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the nerd cave. We got our table. Everything's in here.
Yeah.
Still a lot of room, but I'm trying to keep it somewhat organized.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, it's easy enough to fill a space up, isn't it? No matter how big the space is, you'll see. Yeah,
it is, especially when you start getting 28mm terrain. That takes up a lot of space.
It certainly does. I've got a couple more questions coming in here, so let's just I'll ask some of these ones as before they disappear. So, Thomas says, Travis, you primarily use 1/48 scale, correct? How is the selection for models on the market, and do you use 3D printing?
The selection's pretty decent for 1/48 vehicles, I found. I haven't bought one in a while, and I'm probably not going to buy any more. I bought them because they were cheap. I was getting them off Amazon. Tamiya kits, shipping for free from Japan, so they would take like a month or more to get here. But you can get a kit for $20. Yeah, you forgot you ordered it suddenly. What is this? Oh yeah, it's a T-34 I ordered like 2 months ago. But it's Tamiya kits. They used to be pretty cheap on eBay. I mean, $20 for a tank, but the downside is you got to put it together, and that's pretty much the reason I stopped buying 1/48, because I mean, in a 1/48 Tamiya tank, there's more parts in one track than there is in the entire like Warlord plastic tank kit. So it takes 10 times more time to build.
Yeah, a huge difference, isn't it? I mean, I love making military models. I love making the Tamiya ones, but there's so many tiny little bits and pieces. I would never use them on a tabletop in a game, because I know they've got fat fingers, so they would just snap bits off of it left, right.
Yeah, they are fragile. They're not built for handling. They're scale models, and trying to use them on a tabletop. Sometimes they have rails or antennas or machine guns that are easy to, if you touch them the wrong way, they'll just snap right off. So
that's it. Absolutely.
You do have to be careful.
There's a question there for me. It says, am I planning any chain of command campaigns for that jungle terrain? No, I'm actually planning an O group campaign for the jungle terrain. Currently, that's my next thing. It's probably going to be the Malayan campaign in O group. And let's have a look else. What else we're saying? Alan has asked something here. Any plans to reuse your Flames of War 15mm for something like O group, Iron Beam Shotgun, or Battle Group?
Yeah, definitely. I've been thinking about it. I have the battle group rules already. I just haven't. I don't know. I just haven't had. I've cracked the book open a couple times, and I've started reading it, and I just kind of lost interest. Not that it's a bad game. I just haven't really dove into it yet. But I do have all the 15mm stuff from Flames of War. It's all German and American. I don't have anything else, but that'd be enough, I think. And
oh yeah, for sure. They did have all the lists for the Americans and the Germans anyway, I think, in there. It's Battle Group's a game I've never played. I mean, I'm aware of it. I just never played it. I don't know what it's like at all.
I think it's confusing just because you have to have, like, at least the book I have, it doesn't have any armies in it. There's no army list. So I got like the rule book, and then I think a Kursk book for $5 off someone.
Okay.
So I have the Kursk list, but I don't have any Soviets, and I don't have any American list. So I'm going to have to buy another book to get the American list. So all that kind of stuff combined just kind of sap my energy to do it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand why they do that, why they, they create an extra book for you to buy. It's a Games Workshop method, isn't it? And at the end of the day, they're a business. They're there to make money. They're not giving things away for free. And everybody does it. And I think you have to do it, really, with the Second World War. It's such a big subject that you can't fit everything into one single book anyway, or one single rule book. It would just become such an unwieldy size that it'd be impossible to deal with, wouldn't it, really?
Well, I think that they had I think they did have a book, one of their early, maybe late book, I don't know, but one of the rule books had multiple lists in it. I was reading, and then the one I got doesn't. Right. So I think it was maybe the soft cover book had it, and I wound up with the hardcover book or something like that. But I didn't even think to ask that when I bought it.
So you got gypped on that. Alan says, any plans to read? Oh no, I've already asked that one. Sorry, that was the wrong one. Nigel Atter has asked, Travis, which 28mm figures are your favourites? Nigel is new back into the hobby after taking a break, and he's come back into it. So,
well, it depends on what period. I mean, for like moderns, I do like the Empress modern minis. I'm really liking the Perry minis for ACW, and any of the Napoleonic or Black Powder era games. I really like Perry minis for it, especially their metals. The metals are really nice.
Mm-hmm. Do you ever have a preference between metals or plastic?
I like the metals. They're a little bit more crisp with their lines and their creases, and everything is just a little bit more prominent, so easier to paint. And
anything that makes it easier, right?
Yeah, I wish I would have just went all metal with my ACW army, my rebels, because I bought a bunch of Perry plastics. So I was thinking, well, it'll make it cheaper, but then I'm thinking, should have just paid an extra, $50 and just went all in on all metal everything. So next time. Well,
you've got a fan, because Nigel says he loves the Empress miniatures as well. He says he needs to check out those Perrys. Again, I want to come back to the YouTube stuff, really. And my next question, I guess, is, you kind of answered it a little bit, but what are the processes you go through from deciding what game you're going to play, who's going to play it, also what rules and what lists will you use? I do know from the more recent one that you had a poll on your Patreon, was it? And they decided which game you were going to play and the period. But in general, I mean, if you're just going to say like next Friday you're going to set up a game, how do you go about deciding it?
Well, sometimes I'll ask. Usually I'll ask patrons, but that's always chain of command, so there's almost no point in asking those guys anymore, because it always is the same thing.
Is that so just Rich and Nick just clicking the chain of command buttons?
And I asked, I think the last one you're referring to, it was a YouTube poll, and
YouTube, yes, sorry, it was, yeah.
And that one, Bolt Action, won that one quite handily, but I think that was just because I had chain of command and sharp practice on the list, which split the Lardy's community in half. So if I only had one or the other, it might have been a different result. But normally I'll just play what I feel like playing, or if we're doing a campaign, we'll run through that more frequently. We used to do a pint-sized campaign just consecutively in consecutive weeks, but I don't think we'll be doing that anymore. So we'll probably mix in a pint-sized campaign once a month now. And then sharp practice, we try to do that as often as possible. And then Bolt Action, I like playing Bolt Action, and it seems to be the most popular game we play, views wise and all that.
So that was going to be the next question. Which are the highest views, really? I suppose it is Bolt Action. It's very popular anyway, isn't it?
Bolt Action is just straight views wise, that's the most popular. But I think the most passionate of all the fans, if you want to call them that we have, are definitely the sharp practice players, because
really? That's interesting.
They really love the sharp, and that's my favorite game that we play is sharp practice. I
That
would
was going
just
to be
play
another
sharp
question.
practice every week if I could. And I guess we could. But
Yeah, we can say you can. Nobody's stopping you, really. You know, it's your room.
we could,
It's your stuff.
But
Which,
no, I'd like to keep some variety in there.
yeah. So for sharp practice, which period is your favourite then? Is it the Napoleonic stuff, or I know you've been doing lots of ACW stuff recently.
We haven't really played ACW yet. We played War of Independence, and we played Peninsula / Waterloo, Napoleonic stuff, and I really did like the Napoleonics. I thought that was pretty fun. Very colorful.
It is,
just
isn't
the whole system is just designed to. It just makes a good video because you got the narrative and you got the colorful armies and you got the characters and just you can make your own campaign or your own scenario, and yeah, it's just a lot of fun.
A few more questions are coming in. There's one here from Joe. Hello, Joe. My current muse, because he's the guy that forced me into doing 100 days stuff for sharp practice, as we were speaking about it, and he's asking a question about it, unsurprisingly. Said, when are we going to see the next 100 days game with Tabletop CP? I have some more scenarios I'm tinkering with. I'd love both you and Alex to be guinea pigs for. Well, Joe, send them my way. I'd be more than happy to play any of those. But when are you next doing yours, Travis?
Well, the next sharp practice game we play is going to be our ACW kind of inaugural game, because I'm pretty much done with that project now.
Right.
So yeah, maybe the time we play after the next game. So maybe 2 months from now, or maybe sooner. Who knows? Maybe the week after. It's just I don't really have a schedule.
Yeah.
It's just
when
it
comes out.
Yeah, or if people message me and they want a game and I don't have anything planned, I'll play that game just because. Why not? I mean, there's none of the games we play that I don't like playing, so I don't really have a problem with just randomly throwing out a bolt action game, even if we just played one. Yeah. So we don't have any kind of schedule really.
Okay. Let's just go through some of these questions from our loyal viewers. Alex, Travis, is there a historical period that you would avoid or never consider gaming? That's from Paul. I'll let you go first, Travis, while I think about it.
Well, the only one I mean, I wouldn't say I never consider any period. I would always consider it, but I think just from like I know it's real popular right now, the Lands Connects in that period.
It's because it's everywhere you see, isn't it? Look around, there's pikes everywhere. What's going on?
It's everywhere. And not that I have anything against that period, but just looking at those minis, it's like, man, that's just
painting Napoleonics is enough, isn't it? I mean, that's enough to send you cross-eyed, but painting those things, God.
Yeah, I thought Napoleonics are bad, but just looking at those, I don't even know, Renaissance era, whatever it is, it's like, man, that is stripes upon stripes and bright colors and yellows, and it's like, no way.
It's funny though, isn't it? It shows you how faddy wargamers can be. Somebody starts doing something in a new period and everybody kind of leaps on it and they're all over it like that. Like you said, literally in the last few weeks, I've just noticed everybody's got lunch snakes everywhere. So where did they come from? To answer Paul's question, from my point of view, I don't think there's anything I would avoid. There's things I'm more interested in. I'm more interested in the Second World War, First World War, and Napoleonic. But beyond that, I don't think I'd particularly avoid anything. It's just I don't know about you, Travis, but I find I have to have something that connects me to the period that I find interesting in the period to game it. And I guess that's the same with a lot of people. But so I'm very interested in those periods that I game, and the stuff that I'm not so interested in, I don't bother gaming. I guess that's my answer. I wouldn't avoid it, but I certainly wouldn't. Yeah, I just have to be interested in it.
I just look at it. There's a list, and it's towards the bottom, pretty much.
Yes.
Maybe we'll get there one day when we run out of everything else.
That's it. What's this one? Thomas said, when considering the number and price of models and figures, any thoughts why 25mm 1/72 isn't more common for the skirmish World War II games? Do you mean 1/72 20mm? Because I would have said, well, 25mm probably doesn't really exist anymore, does it? Apart from really, really old school manufacturers.
Yeah, 28 now is the thing, I think.
Yeah, that's kind of the new 25, isn't it? And has been for probably 20 years now. 172nd, I still think there's quite a few people out there playing it, but they're few and far between, I think. Which is strange because you can get Airfix figures for next to nothing, can't you? Really?
Yeah, I think I've always said if I had to do it all over again, I would probably build everything I've done in World War II, but in 20 mil, just because the everything's smaller and it's easier to make the board, especially if you're trying to follow a campaign, like a pint-sized campaign, which it tells you what the map's supposed to look like. And if you're playing in 15 or 20, it's a lot easier to recreate that map more realistically. If you're with 28s, everything's crunched together, and you're supposed to have a big open space to cross, and then open spaces. By the time you get all the terrain on there, it's like a foot wide. It doesn't look like the picture at all. So yeah, I definitely would change to 20 mil if I was to start over again. I would definitely go 20 mil.
That's interesting. I play Chain of Command in 15 mil. It does say in the rules that it's designed for 15 mil, but a lot of people play it in 28. And the reason for that is just because I've got loads of 15mm figures. But I have played 28 mil Chain of Command, and I found it, although everything is almost exactly the same, like we said, footprints of buildings is bigger, but it just feels a lot more crowded.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
It does in 15 mil. 15 mil just feels like it's an empty battlefield, much more so, I think. But yeah,
you're getting better, more realistic spaces between buildings and more realistic open areas with the smaller scales for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe has come back with another question. This one is kind of related to what sorry, I forgot. Paul asked. He said, "What period are you not yet into that would you like to get into, and why?" Landsnetch.
Yeah, same answer. Because I like the way they look. I don't know. I'm thinking like for me it'd be, one period I haven't touched at all is kind of that medieval knights and bill hooks and that time frame. That'll probably be coming up maybe at the end of this year. I don't know, but I'd say that the medieval period is my the one I would consider doing that I don't do right now.
Yeah, I'm a little bit similar actually. I mean, I think I would. I've always cast a sideways eye towards the War of the Roses, and it's always it's something that I've thought about doing. I've looked at Peter Pigg's rules, Bloody Barons, and I'd just like to do it like as an enclosed game. Just pick up the rules, paint some figures specifically for that, and nothing else. But you know what wargaming is like, don't you? It's literally,
oh, yeah.
You're never just going to paint the armies that you need. You'll always paint everything else as beyond that. So I'm afraid to get into it. That's one of the reasons I don't jump into any.
That's good self-restraint.
Absolutely. I try only to buy things that I need as well. That's the other thing I try to do when it comes to figures. I get distracted.
I'm very into that. I've never been the hey, there's a brand new army box. I'm just gonna grab it and put it on the pile. But, so I feel like if I buy it, then I got to paint it. I don't know. Maybe it's some kind of OCD or something. But if I don't like to have just piles of stuff sitting around, it's kind of demoralizing to me.
Yeah, I'm the same. It's like if you've got a smallish pile, at least you can pick away at it and move through it a little bit quicker, can't you? And it's more funneled into, like you say, it's demoralizing when you've got a huge pile of stuff that you've got to move through.
But I'm in a situation now which I think I'm kind of running out of stuff to work on because I burned through this ACW project so fast, and I haven't really ordered anything for the next big project. So I'm just going to chip away. I'm working on these Winter Americans now. There's winter project that I've been working on, for a long time, just in the background. I'm thinking about just going all in on it for the next couple months and just doing everything. But at the same time, I want to get my ACW Union forces going. Now that I'm kind of into it, and my friend just sold me some. I got a good deal on some plastic Perry stuff for a Union that now I have. And like, I could just hold on to these, finish them when I finish the winter stuff, or I just start now. But yeah, I don't know. But you can run out of stuff if you're not careful, which I know is almost sounds impossible to most gamers, but
yeah, I mean, during the pandemic, the first lockdown a year ago, I managed to get through most of my 15 mil figures that had just been sitting there for almost 20 years in some cases.
Oh, wow.
I just worked through them, it's like, right, do these, and then they're done. You don't have to do them again, do you? You don't have to think about it. And I got hundreds of these things, got them painted up and stuff. So it was grand, like, it worked for me in that way. Here's another one from Joe. He's just said, Alex, if you could do archaeology work on any battlefield in the world, where would you go and why? My answer is always, really, I would probably start on the shoreline of Belgium and work my way all the way down to the Swiss border, following the First World War trenches. And why? Because that's what I'm interested in when it comes to archaeology. I've done a lot of field work over in Belgium and France. That's for another video, I think, Joe. We could talk about that another time. But yeah, I would like to dig the entire Western Front if I could, but 500 miles of trenches, I think, could take me quite a long time. Quite a big team, I guess.
It could take some time.
Yeah. Nigel has asked, how popular is Wargaming in your local community?
It's fairly popular. 40K obviously is the biggest game here. You can find a 40K game or a 40K player quite easily. But there's quite a few historical gamers as well, probably
right.
15, 20 that I know of. So I don't know how in relation to like where you guys are from, that's probably not very much, but for here, it's a lot.
Yeah. This is something that always comes up, I think, the massive difference between American and British gamers, isn't it? You guys, you're much further apart, aren't you? And you have to travel quite big distances to get a game. Yep. I guess with you having the stuff in your house is a bit different. You don't have to go that far.
I don't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Go out of bed, literally.
That's the best part of it. Just kind of hang out.
Me, here where I am near Sheffield, I could probably go to a game group every night of the week within a half an hour drive of my house, if I so wished. Well, obviously not during the pandemic, but right. During the normal time. There's literally, I think I counted up, there's probably about 4 gaming groups in my local area that I could get to.
Wow.
And most of those they're historical as well, for the large part of it. So yeah, I think there's a massive difference there. But this is just a smallish town in the UK. You just have to find these things, but they are there. All right. Beyond of Crossing Obstacles Gaming says, Travis, what is your current and long-term goal with YouTube, if you have any? That was a question I was going to ask later on. So he's jumped the gun on that one, but we'll let him have it.
I don't know. Help me in my retirement years, I guess. When I can retire and I'm making less money, then I'll have some supplemental income. I don't know. I mean, ultimately, the ultimate dream would, of course, be to just do it full time and just don't have to work anymore. I mean, a real job. But I don't think that's.
I'm the same, to be honest.
I don't think that's possible in historical wargaming. It's just not. It's not big enough, I don't think. But I mean, you could, if you were doing a 40K channel and you had 150,000 subscribers, possibly. But I don't think a wargame or a historical wargaming channel is ever going to get that big.
I think I agree. You have to kind of branch out a little bit, I think, don't you, to various other bits.
You do, yeah. But
have you ever thought about maybe having a second channel to do that kind of stuff, or is it too much work with just the one channel?
Yeah, I think the one channel is pretty much taking up all my time. The only thing I would like to do, I don't know if I will ever do it, but I don't play as many video games as I used to, but I did play a lot of historical computer games. And I thought maybe throwing on some playthroughs of like the Civil War General, whatever it's called. I've been playing that a little bit recently, and that's a lot of fun. It's a large scale computer game. I mean, it's whole battles. You know, we got Gettysburg and all the other ones on there, and
yeah.
that's something kind of maybe one day I might try. But other than that, I just keep growing the channel and see what happens. I mean, I don't really have any defined goal like, okay, I'm going to get here, I'm going to do this. So it's just keep going.
Yeah, just keep working away at it. I'm the same, really. I mean, I monetize my channel after I got the 1,000 viewers and the however many views you're supposed to get. And I don't know if you do or not, but
I did recently, about 2 months ago. I think I monetized.
Okay.
The main reason I did that just because I wasn't going to. I didn't have any plans to monetize.
Right.
But I kept seeing stories and hearing stories that YouTube was going to start putting ads on videos anyway. I mean, just for themselves. So I'm like, well, man, if they're going to do that, because the whole reason I didn't think I was going to get anything for it, and it was just going to be annoying to anyone watching that I hear another video with another ad, and so I just wasn't going to do it until I heard that YouTube might start monetizing, you know, against your will, basically, and keeping the money for themselves. So I thought, well, I'll keep my, 20 cents or whatever. And
yeah. Well, I figured my thing is, I mean, most of the ads you can set them, can't you? So you can set what kind of ads you will have on a YouTube video, and I usually set mine at skippable ads. So I know that people can move past them; they don't have to sit through a 30-second ad or anything. And I don't put them in the middle of things. And also, here's an insider secret for everybody who's watching: put ad blocker on your browser, and you'll never see adverts. It's what I do. But you can get around it with things like that. So I figure that the amount of work that I put into videos, and I'm sure you're the same. It takes up a huge amount of time, and it's not just the game; it's all the stuff afterwards. It's the editing,
it's gotten
the promotion, and even just checking comments and replying to comments and stuff. It takes up so much time that I figure, if somebody's not happy to watch a 5-second advert before that gives me, like you say, 20 cents or something, then I don't, I'm a little bit, come on, just,
Well, I find myself, I skip my own ads when I go to look at the video and I see it. I'm like, I should watch this. I can get 10 cents out of it. And then I just skip. I don't even want to watch the ads on my own videos.
Yeah, I've got an ad blocker on, so I don't ever see them anyway. but yeah, so, we'll never be rich being historical YouTubers.
No,
that's for sure.
No. It's not. That's never going to happen.
Yeah, the biggest video that I've got is the German marches of the First World War video. That because it's copyrighted material, I can't actually monetize it. But that's something like, I think it's coming up on 750,000 views at this point.
Whoa.
And I don't get a penny for it. It was a CD that I got that I had ripped onto my computer, and I thought, well, I'll put it on YouTube, just host it there so I can listen to it when I want to. But, when I say that, the latest video's got like 200 views, so, that's literally one in a million videos. A couple of the military history ones that I've done have done really well in views. But again, they take a huge amount of work from the research to putting the video together as well. So again, I kind of figure that, putting an advert on that, I don't think many people are going to complain too much about it. And if they do, they're the kind of people that probably aren't going to watch it anyway.
Yeah. Well, no one ever complained when I did it either. I was kind of thinking, someone's going to say, what are you doing putting ads? Come on. But I think everyone's just so conditioned to seeing ads on YouTube at this point that I don't even think they would notice if there was an ad one day when there wasn't one.
Yeah, that's the other thing. I mean, you see it in Twitter, it's on Facebook, it's literally everywhere, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Let's just ask a couple more of these questions. Ian says, talking about PC games, are you thinking of getting the new combat mission Cold War?
I didn't even know there was a new combat mission. I do like the combat mission games, and I played with Ian before on a PBEM game of combat mission, which is interesting because you got to email it, and then you got to open it, and you got to play it. And so it's kind of old school, but on a computer. And
isn't it, basically? these
It's
days.
it's a fun game, but
Yeah, I'm aware
yeah,
of it. I've never played it. It does look
yeah,
good.
it is. It is. They are good. If you're really into historic, they're more of a historical or a simulation than anything. It's. I mean, they're having you can have a 2 or 3 kilometer size battlefield and whole battalions fighting, and then it gets a little unwieldy because you're okay. I mean, how many platoons are in a battalion nowadays, or back then? I mean, or how many squads? You got to control each squad. So
Yeah, that may be a little bit too much.
yeah, so it can get pretty crazy, but they are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really considered. I haven't considered that. I didn't even know about it, but I'll check into it.
Here's one from Thomas. This is an interesting one. Why is wargaming so strong with the Brits? I'm not aware of any other place where it is as popular. I think my personal thoughts on this one is really probably because this is where Airfix first set up. So the Airfix figures first manufactured in the UK in the late 50s, I think, 60s. So suddenly you had, a whole load of kids having plastic toys available to them. So I think it's just developed from that, really. But yeah, I think Britain is a large part of the wargaming world, definitely. And do you have any thoughts on that from an American point of view?
I mean, it's just kind of common knowledge that that's kind of the home of wargaming. Kind of started there, I think, and it's just I don't know. It's just culturally, it's more accepted, I guess, and it's taken more seriously than here. I think over there it's considered an actual legitimate hobby, and here it's more you're a nerd, grow up type of attitude.
Same kind of thing here, to be perfectly honest. A lot of wargamers don't mention it in the public.
Huh.
We're the same, but yeah, I think it's probably just because of the people like Charles Grant and who else was there in the olden days, Don Featherstone and people like that. I think these were the ones that were putting out the rules, weren't they, after the Second World War, I guess. And I think, like I said, because they had access to Airfix figures, it's a cheap way of playing a game. Joe has got one about you both do in-depth AARs. What are your opinions on Little War's views on video length? I'll let you answer that one first, Travis.
Well, I mean, I prefer the longer ones, and I used to when I first started 5 years ago. We did probably about the length that the Little Wars are. Not obviously not to the production level that they do theirs, but and I think I got a lot of comments saying, I like these, but I want to see the whole game. So we started doing the full length ones, and I don't think I've ever had someone say, "Hey, this is too long. I don't, cut down your length of your videos, or they take too much time." Because with YouTube, you can just hit pause and come back the next day and just pick up where you left off. So I don't really see. I mean, there is a place for those shorter type of videos for sure, and it's just a different style. I mean, neither one's right, neither one's wrong, but I just prefer the longer ones. I think you get more into it and you get more out of it.
Yeah, I don't want to say too much about this because Little Wars did actually ask me if I'd be interested in editing one of my videos into a shorter one, and I have done. It's currently waiting to go live because I'm waiting for them to do stuff.
You already did it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they asked me too, and I said, "Oh, I would like to kind of."
I thought they might have asked you. I didn't know because it said they've asked a few YouTubers. I assume they would have asked you.
Yeah, Greg did ask me, and I agreed, but I didn't even think about it. I decided I'm going to wait and see what he does, and just kind of because he wanted to. He wants to put a battle report at 10 minutes, like a maximum. It's like, how am I going to get? I mean, that's the challenge, though. So I want to do it just for the challenge of trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah, so they're going the other way. They're going from 20 down to 10. They're really streamlining stuff.
Yeah, well, I did it off the back of the last game that I filmed. What I've done is I've done the normal length in commas, which is about an hour long with my normal length, and then I've also edited that footage down to under 10 minutes for their version of it. And yeah, the two are very different, and I agree with you. A lot of people have said to me that they enjoy watching my AARs that are an hour long while they're painting.
Yeah, I think that's probably what most people are doing. I think that's kind of the most popular thing to. I don't think anyone really, well, not anyone, but probably most people are doing something else while it's on. I know if I watch other battle reports, that's what I'm doing. I'm making dinner or painting or something, and but that's fine.
I don't know if you ever look at your analytics and things on the YouTubes, and I find that people do switch off after about 10 minutes, but that doesn't mean to say they don't come back and watch another 10 minutes later on.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like the average length is about 10 minutes, the most, but no matter how long or short that video is.
That's pretty common. Yeah, I think that's what most people do.
Yeah, I don't think people are just shutting off in that first 10 minutes because it's just people are doing other stuff.
Yeah, I have started looking at those analytics more recently. Before I never did, but ever since I monetized, I've been kind of looking at it, and just it's interesting because it tells you where their people are watching from, male, female, which is almost I think I had 0.2% female at one point.
Yeah, same here. They've probably used it clicked away pretty quickly as well.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe there's one or two. But...
I think they are one. But yeah, I find that as well. It's interesting to look at the analytics and just see where people are coming from, and it's most of my audience is the US and the UK as well, which is interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Which I don't find surprising because obviously it's a language thing as well as much as anything else. And also the US and the UK are the biggest wargaming nations on the planet, I would think.
Plus they speak English.
Yes, exactly. I don't know how well they speak Yorkshire, but they speak English at least. But you've been looking at your analytics more so since you monetized, just because of that. I mean, if you want to make money off it, then just start doing 40K videos.
Yeah, doing that. That's one of my friends keeps telling me that too. Yeah. Hey, you got to start doing 40K. It's like, man, no way.
Yeah, I don't think
that's a full-time game. There's no way.
Absolutely. Just have a look at some of these ones. The eccentric man Ken says, I thought about adverts, decided not to go in monetization. Well, we talked about that, Ken. I think, to be honest, people that are watching your videos aren't watching for the adverts, they're watching for you. And I think if people know that it's making you a bit of money, I don't think anybody would be really too upset about 5-second adverts at the start of their videos. I'm certainly not. And I don't think many would. Don Featherstone is getting a couple of mentions, which is always good. Nigel has asked, guys, do you have a favourite how to paint YouTube video? I'll jump in straight away and they'll say Sonic Sledgehammer. He's my favourite how to paint. He does some fantastic work, but it's all 28mm. But he does really nice things, and I've learned quite a lot of techniques off him.
Yeah, I'd probably go with that too. I haven't really watched any in a while, but I've kind of got away from. I used to watch those quite a bit when I was starting a project, but I think at this point now I can pretty much. I'm just going to look at it and go with what I have and use my eye to figure it out. Because I mean, ultimately, you're not going to be able to tell if you're 3 feet away if you're a shade off on your pants of some guy, and it hardly matters. But I do understand the desire to be as accurate as possible, because I do like to be accurate.
I mean, I do my research really from books or from dedicated websites about particular uniforms and things. I like to be as accurate as I can. I mean, obviously, I think there's always a bit of leeway anyway, especially with military uniforms, because of being on campaign, you fade and all that kind of things. You can get lots of different colours under the sun. But as for how to paint YouTube channels, I like you said, Travis, really, I don't really watch them. Because
I haven't watched one for a while. Just I used to, but
I use. Thomas says he gets bummed when he doesn't see any patrol phase deployments. Too long? No. I've tried it. I've tried it with some of my AARs with Chain of Command, and being solo, it's just I find it very difficult to do it and to film it and to make it look interesting, because I don't have the same setup that Travis does, where he's got an overhead camera and things. I think with that to be a bit different. So I just kind of skip through it a little bit on my videos. I don't know about you, Travis, what you think about
that. Well, I have. We do show the patrol phase. It's just sped up. I have tried to edit it down to maybe 5 minutes, where we show all the moves and talk a little bit in there. But I think just speeding through it is you get the point across. Yeah, I don't have any plans to really do a full patrol phase. I mean, I could. I have done that before, and I think I've got some people didn't like it, so I was like, okay, well, won't do it anymore.
It can be quite long, can't it? I mean, it's an incredibly important part of the game.
It is,
and I do like it, but as a viewer experience, I don't know how interesting it is. Like you say, it's like half an hour at the start of the video of you moving some discs about.
Right.
Do people need to see that? I don't really know.
I think it could be condensed into about 5 minutes, but then you'd have to record the whole thing and go in and chop it up, and that would take a long time. So
exactly, yeah, it eats into the rest of the editing time, doesn't it? Oh
man, the editing time has gotten way long for me. I mean, my old style, 30 minutes, I was done, and now
We'll get onto that in a second, because I do want to talk to you quite a lot about editing, actually, and how you go about it. We can compare notes a little bit. Let's just ask, here's another one from Bjorn. He said, what's your view on merch based on your YouTube channel?
I would like to have some. I just haven't really gone into or looked at it very seriously. I don't even know how it works. I think there's companies where you can they'll print or whatever it is on demand and send it out, but I don't know. I haven't looked into what that costs or anything.
Yeah, one of the things I started doing a few years ago when I was working as a field archaeologist. I spent the last 6 months working as a field archaeologist, watching the machine strip topsoil, and I had nothing else to do all day because there was nothing on that site. It was literally just 2 machines working 8 hours a day, and I was just watching them. I mean, I had a smartphone, thank God for Facebook, because I probably wouldn't have lasted very long if I didn't have something to look at. But I was looking at ways of basically earning a living online. And one of the things I did was set up a merch store, really, through Redbubble, which is one of the companies, like you say, it's a print-on-demand place. You create your artwork, upload it onto whichever apparel you want, and then just put it on the thing and people buy it. But there are other places as well. I also did an online Viking jewelry store, and that also had t-shirts and stuff that I'd designed, and I was selling those through the store online. Obviously, it didn't make me $1 million because I'm still working 9 to 5.
And you're not doing it anymore.
But also, I'm not doing it anymore. But after a couple of years, my heart really wasn't in it. No. But yeah, there's ways and means of doing it. For Storm of Steel, I don't know if I'm recognizable enough for people to buy my merchandise. I think for you, for Tabletop CP, I think you definitely are. You've got the shield design. That would look good on a t-shirt or on a hat or something like that. I think it's a nice, striking image that you've got.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah, I would say, just to hand out if anyone's curious or wants advice, but get a logo. Because I had my friend Ben. Well, I'm not really friends with him, but he runs a Wargames creative logo thing, and he offered to just make me a logo for free. Okay. And I did, and I mean, that's kind of one of the most important things, I think, for any kind of something like this, a YouTube channel or a gaming channel, is to have a recognizable logo. I mean, that kind of just, ever since he sent that, everything kind of went up from there. So it's definitely a big part of it.
Yeah, it's branding, isn't it, really? I mean, it's a bit of a horrible word, but you kind of have to have a bit of an image, because there's so many other channels out there that you've got to kind of stand out. And even, like you say, when your logo comes up on my YouTube recommended, I know instantly who it is, and you click onto it kind of thing.
That's a very important part of it, I think, is the branding,
absolutely.
for sure.
Got a couple of somebody said most don't like the patrol phase because they don't understand it.
Some truth to that.
Yeah.
If you're just coming in to check out Chain of Command to see how it plays, I don't think having a 30-minute patrol phase is going to make anyone stick around for very long.
Well, I did cover it quite a lot on my Chain of Command How to Play series. So I figure, like, if they need to know, there it is.
Yeah, that's the way to do it. Yeah. A dedicated video to just the patrol phase would probably be a good idea.
Crossing Obstacles again. What's your view on collaborations with other YouTube channels doing common projects or doing podcast style videos basically on a schedule? Well, we're doing it now. Is the short answer, isn't it, really? From my point of view, if I can just jump in, this is something I've wanted to do for a while, actually. I mean, it's nice that it's tied in with the Caesar Awards, which we've hardly touched on, actually. I want to talk to you about that as well at some point. And also, I'd like to do it with other YouTube channels as well that are out there if people are interested. But I think the difficulty is just knowing how to collaborate and what to collaborate on. This is probably the easiest kind of thing, isn't it? Just a bit of a chat like this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, this is the easiest for sure. Otherwise, I mean, you can work on kind of projects at the same time, but it's hard to really do any serious collaboration when you're not living by each other, except for something like this. If you had a local channel, that you were close enough to play with, that'd be pretty cool, because then you could, do a kind of a series concurrently with them, building your armies each, and then you get together and play a game. But usually it's just most of the collaboration is working on the same project, just from wherever you happen to live and showing it, which is cool. That's fine. And other than that, though, this kind of stuff, I think, is the future of any kind of collaboration between channels.
Absolutely. I mean, YouTube has massively taken over things like blogs anyway, hasn't it, for wargaming, especially in this last year. Since lockdown, I've noticed a huge number of new wargaming channels that are out there.
Yeah, there's tons of them. There are tons of them. I see them pop up all the time I'll see bolt action battle reports. Like, oh, okay, check it out. And it's like, a 20, 30 subscriber guy, and that's great.
Yeah, brilliant. I think it's fantastic. The more the merrier, I think. Yeah, it's really good. Lazy Pirate Painting, or Steve says, I'll buy some merch, Alex. Okay, great. That's a one sale at least, Steve. Thank you. Captain Pugwash says, what does the CP stand for on Travis's channel? I think I know this, but I'll let you answer.
Well, it's kind of a dual thing. It's command post. So the CP is always the command post, wherever battalion CP, company CP. Yeah, but it's also, the town I live in is called Cameron Park. So it's kind of a dual thing.
Yeah, brilliant. Perfect. Fantastic. Thomas is back with another question. If either of you use 3D printing for miniatures of terrain, how do you think compares to traditional models? Go on, you go first on this one. Have you?
I don't have a 3D printer, and that's something I don't. That's okay. Someone asked what I would avoid earlier. It would be that. Just because I have enough troubles with my airbrush. I don't need another airbrush. But I have gotten 3D prints from people, and yeah, they're really cool. I mean, especially for terrain, and they've come a long way. I mean, the first 3D prints I got years ago weren't that great, but recently the ones I've gotten, I'm looking at them, it's like, man, you can't even tell. You can't see the lines on them. They just look like a regular resin model almost.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree with that. I don't have a printer either, largely because I don't want my house full of 3D printed model tanks, because I know that's exactly what will happen.
Yeah, or terrain.
Or terrain. I'll not stop. You know what I mean? At least now I've got a buffer between me and somebody selling it. You know what I mean? I've got to go through. I can't just press a button. But yeah, as for how 3D printing has developed, it's incredible, and especially some of the first ones I bought from Shapeways, maybe, I don't know, probably less than 10 years ago, and like you say, you could see the grain on them. They were pretty chunky. But now I bought them from Sabotage Prints here in the UK, and Paul produces some amazing things in resin. and you wouldn't even know that it was 3D printed. Like you say, you can't see the grain on it or anything. Really, really lovely. It's a massive game changer for wargaming, in particular. It really is. It's huge.
You know, they got those resin. The resin printers are now printing, individual infantry minis instead of tanks or buildings. And they look just as good as anything that you're going to buy.
Yeah, I was looking at a Kickstarter for some Napoleonic infantry, British infantry, for 15 mil, and they're beautiful, absolutely beautiful, but I don't have a 3D printer, so I don't really want to go down that rabbit hole of it, because I'd soon have, half of
I'm avoiding that
in 3D prints.
Yeah, and then you got to paint it all.
That's a problem. Well, the next thing is, though, it's going to be painted things coming out of the 3D printer, isn't it? That's the next step. And I reckon within 10 years, we'll probably see fully painted 3D prints as well. Oh, yeah, that means it's happening now, but they're just not.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the next big thing. Ian wants to ask, do you think you'll ever get over to Salute in the UK?
I would love to. Yeah, I mean, but, with COVID and all that. But,
yeah, of course.
But I would love to go over there. I want to go up to, I made a lot of friends doing this hobby, and a lot of them live over there. So I think I could probably go over there and probably just live at people's houses for like a month.
I think you may go all the way around the country. And,
go up to Scotland. I got a bunch of people I know up there. Just crash on their couch for a couple of days.
Well,
head out to the next game club.
We could have a couple of games of Chain of Command or even O Group or something. I'd be more than happy to host you for that.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Do it. If you could work it out so you could actually visit a lot of the shows as well while you're doing it, that would be even better, wouldn't it?
Yeah, it would definitely be. That would be the trip. I mean, it would be for that.
Joe also says, "I'd saw you always somewhere to stay, Travis." He runs a hotel, so
there we go.
Keep him on side, definitely.
So I could stay in a real bed for at least a couple of nights.
Yeah, that's enough, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah, Salute is fantastic. I've only ever been once, because to get down there, it's about a 2.5 hour train journey for me.
Is that the one that's one? Is that the one day?
It's a big one in London, yeah. It's only a 1 day one, but Ian got me free tickets for it, in fact, and cool. Because he liked my blog from way back when, and got me press tickets for it, so I was able to get down there with a couple of mates, and yeah, absolutely blown away by the size of it and just what's there. It's incredible, really good. I think you may have dropped out, Travis. You did say that your internet does drop out every so often, so it looks like I'm going to have to keep the troops entertained until you do come back in. Fingers crossed you'll be back in a minute. I'll just have a look at some of your comments while we. Oh, you're back again. You dropped out there, Travis.
Yeah, it's around this time every day. My internet drops out.
You did say. Don't worry, we didn't miss too much. All right, I want to go back to this to YouTube itself. Again, really. Talk me. This is one of my questions. Talk me through a typical filming session. What decisions do you make about filming, the camera angles, that kind of thing? How do you set up your shots for your editing afterwards?
Well, I have 3 different cameras. I got the handheld, which is it's just a regular old
similar to what
camera. I got a mic that goes on top for sound, and then I film everything with that. And I have the 2 webcams, one on the ceiling, and I have the one I'm talking into now on a little tripod. And I'll just move that. I always have the overhead, and then I have a switcher, so I can switch between the 2 cameras remotely. And I just kind of, whatever's happening at that moment, I will either go with the handheld, or this one here, or the overhead, or the handheld. Okay. And all the voices from the from my handheld. So pretty much what I'll have like the full game recorded on the remote or on my hard drive on my computer with the webcams, and then I'll just slice that up to match the hour or so of actual gameplay footage that I have on the handheld. Okay. And it's just I'm getting better at it. It's at first it was pretty. I didn't know what I was doing, but just like everything, the more you do it, the more experience you have, the more efficient and the better you get at it.
Yeah. That's certainly what I find. I mean, the way I do it is because I'm doing it on my own. I will set up the shot that I'm taking. So I'm usually I think you mentioned this on the PCP podcast. The dice rolls are the important thing, and
Yeah.
I've always thought that as well. That's the bit that's the excitement of the game, isn't it?
Yeah. That's what you play for.
Is not so interesting. You can show where the figures are moved to, but just
Right.
actually physically moving them on a video is a bit boring, I find. But rolling the dice is a thing that's a dynamic part of it.
Yep.
So I will try to I'll do that. But what I do is I will also narrate over the top of it with just the one camera, and so I only ever really get that one shot. Unfortunately, I need to get a couple more cameras, so I've got a few different shots of things going on. Like, yours are very much more dynamic, but then you've got, like you say, you've already got 3 cameras. That's 2 more than I have when I'm doing mine. So that's something I'm going to think about, is getting more cameras.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you got to do that. It's I mean, that's the next level of battle reports, is multi-camera, and I mean, there's a lot of the big 40K channels have been doing that for a long time. There's not very many kind of historical smaller channels like ours that most of them are the way that I was doing it, that it's just consecutive shots in a row. There's no extra footage put in. There's nothing really that fancy. But yeah, I really enjoy doing that, adding the extra cameras and stuff. I mean, that's just a whole nother hobby. That whole side of it is a whole nother hobby in itself.
But obviously, I suppose that's going to add to your editing time as well, though, isn't it? Because then you've got 3 bits of footage to slice together rather than just like the way I do it. So I kind of do what you say, consecutive shots. But I have a little bit of a lead-in time at the start where I'm quiet, then I'll talk, then at the end I'll be quiet for 2 seconds, so I know where I can cut off the actual the thing and slice it together. I've got better at doing that when I first started, and also putting it on a tripod as well, because the first time I did it, I was doing it all by hand, because there's rolling dice and holding the camera is it's a bit gets a bit people seasick, I think. But yeah, I can imagine that slicing it together as 3 different cameras is a lot more difficult, but it makes a much more dynamic.
It is. It's my like this last video, I think I edited 2 hours. So I'm starting the editing now before I do the bow, because I got to do the intro. So the intro and like the top down with all the graphics and everything, that takes a couple hours to do. I usually do that like Thursday night, and then Friday we have the game, and then Saturday I probably spend 5 or 6 hours editing everything. So it's probably like, I thought when I got better it was going to be quicker, but the thing I'm found is that I got better, I'm now adding more stuff, so it's actually made it longer. it's the reverse effect of what I was hoping for.
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah, I don't know, but I just start, I get up early, so I'm 6:30, 7 in the morning I start editing, and by noon or 1 I'm done. And it just goes so fast. I don't even realize how much time has passed. So I look at the clock and I'm like, damn, it's been half the day already.
Yeah.
But I think it's worth it. I think it's definitely worth.
Oh yeah, 100% it shows on your stuff. I mean, it's fantastic. Again, I was looking at one of your recent ones, the bolt action Hill 36 whatever.
364, yeah.
364, yeah. It's really good. It's a really, really nice, dynamic, exemplary video for historical gaming. I think that kind of stuff is fun, and do more of it.
Yeah, that's the only way I'm going to do it now.
Yeah,
I might. I don't know. There might be an occasion where I just kind of do the old style game, like that Saga game we just did. That was kind of a spur of the moment thing.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, I'll just put this out as the old style, but I recorded it all with the intention, or I've recorded it the same way with the 3 cameras, but I never intended to actually slice that one in together, but I wound up doing it, and I'm glad I did. I don't think unless I'm at a store or something, or there's some reason I don't have my extra cameras, I don't see why I wouldn't just keep keep doing it the way I've been doing it.
Yeah. No, I think it's worthwhile doing. I think, and it definitely shows. So I guess the next question off the back of that is, what software are you using for editing? You said before that you used to use the old Microsoft thing, but I'm fairly certain that doesn't get used these days, does it?
No, I use it's called Filmora 10.
Same here. Exactly.
Yeah, I like it. It's pretty user friendly compared to some of the other ones I was researching, and you can try it for free. You can use it for free too, except for it leaves the watermark.
It's a watermark on it, yeah.
So I bought a new laptop. So I bought a gaming laptop, and with the intention of only using it to edit. Of course, I wound up installing Steam and all my games on it, against my own best my best attempts not to.
We are living parallel lives. Honestly, I did exactly the same thing. I bought a new desktop literally for editing, and now it's got Battlefront 2 on it, Red Dead Redemption, Grand Theft Auto, you name it, they're all on there. All those big games that I couldn't play on my laptop.
Yeah, sometimes you get tired of painting. Want to do something else.
Yeah, exactly. But I use Filmora as well, and I just upgraded to 10 just recently. I've had it since 9. I've had it for a couple of years. I was checking. What I like about the new one, the 10, is that it now does animations. You can do the keyframe animations.
Yeah.
So you can move things around.
Which is funny, man. Yeah, so, like the video I just did, the Chain of Command Hill 364 has a little animation of the British patrol markers kind of spreading out. That was all by accident. Because if you put like a keyframe at the start and end, and then you decide to reposition the thing on the screen, it adds another one in between, and it'll actually follow that line to wherever you left it. So I put those keyframes on, and then I was like, I'll spread these out so they're spread out along the board edge. And then when I went back and looked at it, they just started to spread apart. It's like, oh, that's pretty cool.
It takes a little
completely unintentional.
Happy accident. There's nothing wrong with that.
But there's a lot of possibilities with that keyframing stuff, I think.
Yeah, one of the things because I made quite a few military history videos last year, is something I want to go back to. But I did the campaign of the Malayan campaign, and I drew my own maps for it, just to show the different battles and things. But at the time there wasn't the keyframe, so I had to draw I was showing the troop movements of the different battalions, and I had to draw each individual frame for the animations. And I just wish I had that keyframe thing, because it's so much quicker, and it looks so much better as well. But that's the way it is.
Hold on a second, I gotta let my dog in.
Okay, somebody's asked about your dog actually.
All right then.
Star of the show.
Yeah.
Leslie has actually asked, with all the extra video work, who walks the dog?
Nobody. He has lost a lot of weight though.
Oh, that's good. Nigel says he also agrees that the dice rolls are important. Battles can be won or lost on the dice roll. Plus, being brave and taking a risk. Yeah, that's very true. Very true.
Yeah.
And Leslie has also said the intros are well worth it. Travis.
Thank you.
That is something that I'm thinking about doing as well now, because I've seen yours.
They're really good. Yeah, I think having a good intro is important, I think, for keeping people around.
Yeah, I mean, I usually just do a piece to camera about the background of the game and what I'm playing, and if there's anything like that. But I think if I could add a few graphics and stuff, I think that will at least spice it up, if nothing else. It is something I'm going to have a look at doing. And I suppose the next question was then, do you leave everything out, or does a lot of stuff get cut out of your videos?
Rarely. With the handheld, as I mentioned, I just start and stop. So I'll start it and say, okay, here's the roll, and then I'll stop it 100 times. But out of those 100, I may cut 10 or 12 seconds. So it's pretty much just straight on.
Right. Yeah.
And it's all the extra camera work that takes all the time, and trying to line it up, because you don't want to throw your dice and then 2 seconds later you hear them hit the table. So everything's got to line up perfectly. So that's what takes a long time.
Yeah. I guess I'm pretty similar in that very little gets cut out of mine. It's usually just pauses where I've forgotten a rule, so I've got to go and look it up or something. But I can see it because, as you know, on Filmora, you can see the audio file that's connected to the thing, to the camera,
right.
so I can kind of see where I've gone quiet when I've gone to read a rule that I've forgotten, so I can just chop that straight out. But yeah, basically what you see on my videos is similar to yours. It's pretty much how the game played out.
Yeah, we I don't know. Well, if you only have the one camera, yeah, you don't have to deal with lining up. So on mine, I have each webcam has a microphone built into it.
Yeah.
So I record it onto the hard drive with the audio going, and then I'll just listen for a phrase or a really distinct word. Yeah. And I'll find it in both, and I'll line them up, and then I'll cut it. So it's without the ultimate way, I think, to do it would be to just record the whole thing on everything. So 4 hours worth of footage, and everything's all got one audio track, and you just have to cut between the different cameras. But I haven't found a setup for that. I don't know how you would even go about doing that.
No, because you're going to need that handheld aspect, aren't you? You've got the overhead is an easy one, because that can just film, can't it, for your 2-hour, 3-hour game or whatever.
Right.
And then you can just add the other stuff onto that. But it's like you say, it's a handheld stuff is a difficult thing. And I mean, there's the big channel, Miniature Wargaming, I think they're called. They do a lot of 40K stuff. They've got 250,000 subscribers or something, and they do it similar to you. I don't know how if you've seen them or if you've ever taken tips off there, or just hints off what they've done. They do to you
no, I think the one, if the channel that I like their style the most is it's a 40K channel, but the Tabletop Tactics. I don't know if you heard of them.
I don't think I know that one.
But most of these a lot of the 40K big 40K channels don't really have any extra cameras in them. A lot of them are just straight filmed straight through and put on. There might be some graphics on top of it or a kind of an intro thing, but I think that the Tabletop Tactics, they have the best. I think they're the best.
Okay, I'll check them out.
I've stolen quite a few ideas from them, I think.
Right, yeah. You haven't stolen them. You haven't just borrowed them.
They're already out there. Yeah, we're all stealing from each other anyway.
Absolutely. I mean, you can't do this alone, can you, really? No. You've got to be... let's just have a look. Eccentric Man, Ken, he has a channel as well. I don't know if you follow him.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, do, and everybody else in the chat should do as well. Interesting stuff on the video and authoring. I'm a bit limited, as most of my games are now played in the game store within a 2.5 time frame for setting up, playing, and packing away. Yeah, I mean, that's always an issue, isn't it? Packing up.
And plus, game stores can get very loud.
Yeah, I'm quite lucky in that I've got the loft as well, which I've basically got a table set up there that I can just set up and go on the on basically on Saturday. Usually is my time for filming. Do you aim for a certain length of time on your videos, or is it just however long the game is going to be?
I don't really. I mean, I will kind of look at it when I feel it's getting late and see, but usually they just kind of naturally always wind up around an hour. That's just. I think pretty much even if you weren't filming a game, a 4-hour game, if you really condensed it down into actual gameplay, it's probably only going to be about an hour.
Yeah, I find that as well, and I think the longest I've had is possibly the first O group game I played, and that clocked in at 2 hours. I had to cut it into 2 1-hour videos just because I wanted to get something out, and it was taking so long to edit anyway. And largely that was because I was explaining the rules as I was going along, rather than just playing the game.
Those type of videos will take a long time.
So
you're not just you can't assume everyone. Normally in a game, if chain of command battle report, you expect the people watching it to know the rules.
Absolutely.
And but if you're intentionally doing a how to play, it's going to definitely take twice as long.
Yeah,
in a normal game.
Yeah, like I'm the same with you really. Mine clock in usually about an hour-ish, and that's generally just because that's the game time anyway, in most cases.
Right.
Mm. And your release schedule, do you have a set day for it, and or do you have a backlog of videos, or do you just release them as you make them?
No, I just release them as I make them, and I generally get it done by Saturday. I put it up for the patrons a day before and let them watch it and comment and interact with them over it, and then I'll just put it out the next morning. So I think I put out the last one Saturday afternoon, and then I just put it out right before we started here. I put it public. So, but I mean, I know that there's people that say that certain days are better for this or that to release, but I mean, for us, I don't think it matters. For the crowd that we're with, I don't think that they're like, oh, this video came out on Sunday. It would have been better if it came out Monday, but I'll watch it anyway. I don't think that's a problem for us.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I try to schedule mine. I give my Patreons early access. I just have it unlisted and give them a link, and I usually do that usually on a Sunday or a Monday, because I try to get 2 videos out a week if I can. But I do try to release them on a Wednesday and on a Friday, just to try to stay a little bit ahead of myself. So I've got my own schedule. But if it doesn't happen like that, it doesn't matter so much. I don't really care. But I've also got quite a lot of videos currently backed up. I usually try to have about 12 videos ready to go.
Wow, that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't have any. Yeah, so if I for some reason can't make anything, and there just won't be anything. I was thinking about saving that Saga game for a rainy day, but I liked it so much. I'm like, I got to get it out there. It's too cool.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem I have as well. I think, oh, this is going to be great. I can't wait for people to see it, because I usually put stuff on Twitter as well. If I'm playing a game, I'll put the pictures on Twitter as I'm going.
Right.
But then sometimes the game doesn't actually come out onto the channel for about another 4 weeks. I don't know if it's better to release it straight after I put the Twitter stuff up because people are waiting for it, or if it's, I try to. It's kind of something that goes back to my blog really, where I would have a lot of articles written ready to go just in draft form, just so I knew that if there was nothing, if I didn't fancy writing something for a couple of weeks, I'd still have stuff to fall back onto.
Yeah,
and I've kind of continued that with the channel as well as every so often. Like this weekend, I haven't played a game for the channel because I haven't bothered, because I've already got loads of them waiting to go. When I say I've got 12, that's usually like, it's about half and half. Half are not game videos, but half are game videos. So I try to mix it up as well. So I've got painting videos and terrain videos and stuff coming as well as other stuff. But yeah, that's just the thing I've carried over from the blog, really. I suppose it's just the way I've always done it. I just wondered if you did the similar.
Yeah, I wish I did.
Yeah, I've got a few other people here saying, Little Legion says, I don't have the discipline to sit on videos, can't figure out how to schedule them. Scheduling, I've never really scheduled. I just make them private and then publish them when I fancy it.
Yeah, that's what I do. Unlisted.
Yeah,
you can put them unlisted, and then
that's
they
right.
can only be watched by someone with a link.
Yeah. And he also says, as soon as I make a vid, I release it.
Of course, if you put a unlisted video in a playlist, that people can find it. Because I've gotten comments on videos I haven't put out yet. I'm like, well, how did you even find this?
Yeah,
oh, it's in the playlist. Oh, okay.
That's the problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
Here's a question from before that I missed. Bloody Swords Vid says, I know this is off topic, but as players of sharp practice, has either of you got to use Dawns of Departures in any of your campaigns?
No, I can't figure out how to use it, honestly. I've read through it a couple times, and at the sharp end for Chain of Command is very straightforward and simple, but I'm looking through that Dawns and Departures, it's like, what is it, supplies? I just can't figure it out. If anyone knows how to use it and can explain it to me, I would love to do a sharp practice campaign, but
Well,
Yeah, I just couldn't figure that out.
I'm a new player to Sharp Practice. I've only had it this year, really. So I'm, I know of Dawns and Departures, but I've not actually played it. But having said that, I'm currently in the middle of a Dawns and Departures campaign on Discord, where me and Tom Egan, an army instructor over in Ireland, we are fighting a American War of Independence game where it is being played out on the tabletop. We don't see it, but we just get the reports back of where our troops are and what the latest fighting was. So we're playing the colonels, so we're just moving them about on the board. But as for actually playing it myself, I never have, so I don't know it at all, really, is a short answer on that one. Crossing Obstacles says, if I didn't have a release schedule, nothing would ever get released. Should really build up a backlog, but haven't really got to that point yet. It'll come. Or you could just be like Travis and just put stuff out left, right, and centre.
Yeah, they got nothing for a rainy day then.
Exactly. Whatever.
Always have a couple in your pocket.
Absolutely. Let's just see what Ken said. He said, prior to lockdown, I had a couple made ready to go just in case, but all used up now. Lol. Yeah, I did the same. I'll go sometimes without filming anything, and then start to panic when I'm down to like 4 or 5 videos ahead of myself. So I'll start making videos again. A few more questions really for you, because we are coming up on a 2-hour point, and I don't want to keep you too long, Travis. I'm enjoying this, but I know this is eating into your day as well. So I'm going to ask you the last few questions, I guess. So somebody else I think asked this earlier, but in a roundabout way. What's your favourite period to game? Because I know you've got quite an extensive interest in the Lardy stuff, and it seems the Napoleonics all the way through to the Second War. But you mentioned Sharp Practice earlier.
Well, Sharp Practice is my favorite game to play. Period, though, maybe I'd still probably have to say World War II is my favorite. Ever since I was a kid. Yeah.
That's it, just World War II.
Yep.
Short answer. I'm done.
World War II.
Yeah, I should narrow it down. Interesting. I think mine is as well. I mean, from other interests, I'm interested in the First World War, but from a wargaming perspective, I just think World War II has the edge on it, probably because of the tanks, I guess. I mean, I love
tanks. Yeah, everything about it's just really cool.
Yeah, it's all the gear, isn't it? You can go from having all that gear, and also your favorite rules. Which are your favorite rules? You've already said that. Sharp
Practice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, the last question I've got for you then is chain of command or bolt action, which is best?
Oh, chain of commands is better than bolt action. I mean,
yes, the right answer. That's the right answer.
I can't lie about that. As popular as bolt action is, chain of commands is a superior set of rules.
To be fair, I've never.
Depends on what you're looking for too, but bolt action is good for getting people into it, and it's good for pickup games and just throwing dice. Chain of command's more. You got to put more thought into it, and you can do campaigns, and that's a whole nother layer of thinking that you have to do. So they're different, but yeah, definitely chain of command.
Yeah, I to be honest, I've never played a game of bolt action. It's never really appealed to me. The reason for it is because prior to getting into chain of command, I always liked higher level games. So I always played rapid fire because that was battalion level gaming for World War II, and that's what my preferred level was, which is why I like O Group so much, because it's literally an updated rapid fire. So I never really looked at bolt action. I never really looked at stuff like Flames of War either. I kind of have this: if it's popular, I'm not particularly interested in it. I like other things.
Right.
That's something that runs through all my life, not just wargaming. Like music as well. Like I like the bands that only 3 people have heard of, and they're the people that are in the band.
Right.
The more obscure, the better. I find. So I think its popularity kind of put me off. I mean, it could be a great game for all I know, but I think the popularity of it put me off. Whereas Chain of Command, I just picked up at a show a few years ago, and then didn't really get it the first time I played it, and then I played it at Steel Lard, which was a Lardy event here in Sheffield, and really realized, that there's a lot more to this game than I realized. And the more I played it as an AAR and as solo, I've just got more into the nuances of it. And I just think it's such a brilliant game with so many levels in it that it's definitely my favorite, I think, at the moment. Slightly competing a little bit with O Group just because of that level, the battalion level.
Yeah,
But
they're different games.
Yeah, absolutely.
Same setting, but totally different.
Ken has said the offer still stands, Alex. Game of bolt action at Dice Cavern in Grantham.
There you go.
So, well, I'll be up for that, Ken. Don't you worry. I'll be happy to do that.
Ken, I'll show you how to play.
Yeah, I'm sure. And Steve said that I find Chain of Command is a historical World War II, while Bolt of Action is more Hollywood World War II. I think that's the usual. It's not criticism, I suppose, but the way of describing the two different game systems, isn't it, really? And yeah, I'd agree with that, I think, just from what I've seen of Bolt Action.
Yeah, and Bolt Action isn't, I mean, you could probably use any figures of any kind of World War II era or newer models with those rules. I mean, Chain of Command is designed as a World War II game. I think Bolt Action just kind of it's a game that uses World War II models more than a World War II game.
I don't know how true this is, but I had heard that the guys that first developed it, when they were first putting it together, it was actually, I think they were working for Games Workshop, and what they were doing was playing 40K as a World War II game, which is kind of what Bolt Action grew out of. Like I say, I don't know, because I don't know the mechanics of 40K anymore. I don't know the mechanics of Bolt Action and if there's any overlap in the two. But that's certainly what I'd heard them talk about on a podcast. One of the guys that started
I haven't heard that.
Started the Bolt Action stuff. And I can kind of imagine that, I think, a little bit, because it's of that the lead belt in Nottingham, where Warlord are based. It's the same as where Games Workshop are based, and I think a lot of the staff are crossover from the two different companies, certainly. So I can imagine there's probably quite a lot of similar ideas floating about around there. But
yeah, 40K would be wise to ditch the I go you go thing and get something more interactive and more just modernize their turn thing, because
100%. I think
I will never try 40K again until they get rid of that. I just can't stand that. I just can't stand that nuke, or whatever they call it, nuke strike. It's like, hey, I lost half my army in the first turn. Okay, well, game over. So that's not a problem in Bolt Action.
Yeah, I suppose not. That was the problem we had with Rapid Fire. This is why I went to look at the Lardy stuff, because Rapid Fire is very much a I go, you go, that old school style of gaming. And your entire half your army isn't wiped out in Rapid Fire, but it feels very staid, especially even with things like having a morale check in them. Now that I look at those kind of rules, and I just think, why even bother? Shock works perfectly for that. It completely wipes out those dice rolls completely. And
it's also really nice.
The other thing as well, I really like from the Lardy stuff is the dice for movement. Now I look at other games where they have, you move 6 inch, then you move cavalry move 12 inch. I just think that now looks so old, and I think, God, that's
Yeah, I think that having been a 40 or a Bolt Action player, I think that random movement kept me from playing Chain of Command for like a year, because I just was like, what the hell? What is this? And then so I didn't try it. So I wasted a whole year of Chain of Command game, and because of that. But then when I got into it and it's explained why it's done, and it's really, I do like it.
Yeah, it's a great game. I always look forward to playing it, and also now having played it for over a year almost continually, I know the rules pretty much inside out of this place. Well, I say that as people still tell me on my videos that I've got a rule wrong.
Oh yeah, that'll never end.
Oh, absolutely not. How do you deal with that? That's another question from a YouTube point of view.
I haven't had a problem with it. I mean, I just thank the person, because usually, I mean, it's a way to learn these things.
Yeah, that's true.
If you look at it as a, you know, a good thing instead of a criticism, then I
Yeah,
don't have a
yeah,
problem with it.
absolutely. I
I've
mean,
learned a lot of I've learned a lot from comments, rules correction comments, and most of the time everyone's very civil about it. It's not like, "Hey, you idiot, you did this wrong." I don't get anything like that.
no, I don't. I've never had that either. I just think it's. I do try to say at the start of the video that I'm going to get rules wrong, so don't worry too much about it. It's about the game,
Yeah,
not about the
I
rule.
used to say that, but I think it's just assumed now. I did get one funny comment. Someone was saying that, yeah, we like the channel, but man, what's with the beer and all the cursing? Can you stop doing that? It's like, no.
That wouldn't be us. That wouldn't be us.
Yeah, it's
It's a
like,
part of it.
that's too hard. I can't stop everyone from cursing or drinking. We're adults.
And that's, to be honest, though, that's one of the things that has kind of stopped me from filming with my mates, because I usually, when I play normally, I started going to a club, but that was only just before the lockdown. Normally, I'll play with two friends who I've been playing with for years, and because we see it as a social gathering as much as playing a game, it's I find it a bit difficult to film with those guys because we'll talk about stuff that we're interested in, that's specific to us. It's not about the game.
Right.
To get them to steer back to talking about the game would be like herding cats, basically. So
well, you would have to train them. So I mean, like I have Andre. Andre knows the deal. When I have the handheld and he hears that beep, then he's into the game. When we turn it off, everything's fair game. So now having players, that is another important part of which I never thought about really, but having an opponent who knows what you're doing and when to do things is very important as well. And having a good partner is
absolutely, yeah, 100%. It's teamwork, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
I love my mates, but there's one of them, Mark. He doesn't want to appear on camera. So,
what
do I do with that?
Just don't show them. We don't. I mean, we don't appear on camera during the games.
Well,
we do
true,
on something like this, but
yeah. I suppose that's true. Yeah.
I don't know if we'll ever do we're going to stand in front of the banner and talk. I don't know. Maybe one day, but I don't know. I don't think it really adds a whole lot to it.
Yeah, no,
it's nice to see the people that are playing, of course, but
yeah.
I think just getting straight into it is probably. I mean, that's another piece of advice I would have is keep the intro short, like 5 minutes if you can.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you see that a game will be, the guy's talking for 20 minutes before anything even happens. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with that if there's a reason for it, but I just see a lot of people sometimes will just ramble and they'll get off track and then they'll come back on track, but they don't get rid of any of that. So
yeah. There's an editing function on the software for a reason, isn't there? There's a tool to cut that stuff out. Yeah, I mean, I'm the same. I try to be as succinct as I can with the intro, just to say, set up the table. And I try to do it. I'd say, right, okay, here's the table. This is what it looks like. These are the forces. Let's get on with the game. You're into it. You're watching a game, aren't you? You're not watching me talk about a game at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think it's a very important point is keep the intro as short as possible.
Yeah. Leslie just said here, what did he say? Alex, you must have enough clips to make a video of your rule blips. Yeah, it'd be about 3 hours long, I think, to be honest.
Like a bloopers reel?
Yeah, a blooper reel.
That'd be funny.
And Leslie also said Andre is a great asset for your games, Travis. So
he is. He's a good partner to have for gaming for sure. He's been doing this with me the whole time, so he's well versed in the procedure and the order things go in, and he knows when to do his thing, and he knows when I'm doing my thing. So it's worked out well.
Yeah, that's perfect, really. Do you? So then, another question off the back of that then is: do you guys play games when you're not filming, or are all your games?
No,
so it's all channel output then?
Yep.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. That's very straight thinking.
Yeah, we play one game a week, so we film it.
Yeah. That's fair enough. Yeah, I mean, my mates we're going to gather together on Monday, tomorrow, in fact, for a game of Gastons, and I'm wondering about whether I should film it or not. I don't know. I'll see what they think, and I might try it out and just see how it turns out.
Might as well. I mean, you don't have to use it.
No, exactly. It doesn't have to be anything, does it? All right. Well, look, we're coming up on nearly 2 hours now, 1 hour and 49 minutes. So I'm going to wrap this up because, as I said, we're taking up 2 hours of your time there, Travis, and I really appreciate it. And again, massive congratulations on winning the fan favourites of the Caesar Award.
Yeah, thanks.
Fantastic. Real good achievement. That's brilliant for the first one. Fingers crossed for the next year as well. Or maybe you'll give somebody else a chance. Who knows?
Yeah, they might not let me be in it this time.
Yeah, so we'll have each year. You never know. You never know. But yeah, no, it's brilliant to get that achievement, really, and that recognition, I think.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad they did that. I mean, that's a really big deal for the historical gaming community, I think.
Absolutely.
Get some kind of energy into it and some excitement.
Yeah, absolutely, 100%. And I think we kind of mentioned it earlier. The more people that make wargaming content on YouTube, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, definitely.
Just filming something on your phone, it's doable, especially with the amount of material that you can use these days. The amount of technology, it's not difficult, is it? Really?
Nope. It's super straightforward.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's as difficult as you want to make it. Let's put it that way.
It is indeed. It is indeed. Right. Well, again, I would say thank you to everybody that's watched this, and a thank you to everybody who's going to watch this in the future. I'll end the broadcast now, and fingers crossed we'll be able to do this again at some point in the future. Travis, I'd like
definitely.
To anyway. I'm happy to come onto your channel if you're happy to come back onto here as well. Either way. I'd be happy to have another chat. It's been a great 2 hours. It's flown by, really.
Thanks, Alex, for inviting me on. And I would definitely love to come back again.
Brilliant.
It's good times. So.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, again. I shall just end this now.
All right.